Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we're privileged to have with us Ken Baker, who is the Regional Managing Principal at Gensler. Welcome to the program, Ken.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, so just get us started with giving us a brief overview of Gensler and what you do at the firm, and then we'll just jump into some nice, fun masterminding type questions and see what we can learn together.
Sure, Mike. So Gensler is actually the largest architectural firm globally now, and we have over 5,000 people in over 47 offices and 9 regions of the firm, and we are considered experts. We kind of break our work into what we call practice areas. We actually have 31 over 30 practice areas, so centers of excellence, everything from aviation and transportation, professional service firms, product design, consulting services, to mission critical work, consumer products, et cetera, et cetera. So we're a design firm. We design, our mantra is we design places for people to work in a better environment and to be successful. And we are a firm that strongly believes that design influences business, and it actually increases the bottom line. When you have good design and your folks are working in great environments, that they're actually more productive, and it focuses, makes a bigger, more profitable bottom line.
Yeah, that's an interesting introduction, because something that jumped out at me really I wanted to draw a little bit of light on, which is your firm is large and vast, and that's wonderful, but there are very specific business units that focus on very specific verticals. So when that vertical client comes to you, they know that they're not getting a generalist. They're getting someone that knows their industry inside and out. Is that accurate? But is that by design? And did you grow into that, or is that part of your vision from the beginning?
Mike, that's a great question, and you are correct in that assessment of Gensler. And we like to think that we're bringing the most qualified industry experts to each assignment. And part of the reason for our diversity over these 31 practice areas is the fact that, and how it's helped our firm grow, is the fact that in today's kind of up and down economy and what we've been going through over the last 10 years, what the world's been going through over the last 10 years with kind of the global economy, our diversification into all these centers of excellence it has helped us and helped our clients in that there are certain centers of excellence that will increase in business when economic conditions change, and others that go down. So it has enabled our firm to be market responsive and to grow even in times of a down economy. Because of, some things go up, some things go down. Financial service firms may be going down, but, consumer products may be going up. And I just use those as not real examples, but kind of some examples. So, yes, it is by design. And we also feel that, for large corporate companies, for example, Fortune 500 companies, we work for a huge number of Fortune 500 companies, and they are very diverse in their makeup, and having a one-stop shop of experts that they can go to for a number of different things is something that our firm strives to provide our clients. But we do want to focus on, if somebody says, look, I'm opening a small office in downtown D.C. on K Street, and we're a lobbying firm, and we're going to bring the technology and the resource available to do that, and keep our eyes on the ball, all the same time letting that client know that we've got these other centers of excellence, and if they are diversifying, we could help them in other areas as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the mindset of bringing that big brand mentality and experience to the level that you are. So it's not like you're out of touch or out of reach. It's just that you are bringing a lot more knowledge base to that client because of who you've been able to work with. Have you found that over the years there may have been a project that you have worked on that might have been 20, 30, 40 projects similar to it, and by doing very, very similar projects for that vertical, you started noticing patterns where maybe the project manager said, if we do it this way, because of what we learned in projects in the past, we can save this much money for the client and actually present to the client kind of a quantifiable, realization that, hey, we're the best, we told you the best, and look at these areas that, what we were talking about previously would work, but if we did it this way, it's going to give you that much better result.
That's a really good point, Mike. Thank you for bringing that up. I want to use one of our practice areas as an example, some practice areas that I'm actually considered a design expert in, and that's professional service firms. So under that heading, you've got, firms like ourselves, engineering firms, advertising agencies, et cetera, but law firms in particular. That's probably the biggest market sector in PSF, as we call it. And to illustrate what you just put out there is law firms kind of do things on precedent. Their business is built on precedent. They service their clients by stating precedent. And one of the things that we say about law firms in particular is they want to be the first to be second. So there's always the challenge of getting a law firm to break ground in a new, uncharted way of doing business, because they always want to see the proof and they want to see what their competitors are doing. So because of that, we do so much law firm business. We are keeping track of the statistics and planning expertise in all of those firms that we're doing work with, and we have developed tables of benchmarking. So we could cite, if you're a law firm this size and you're a headquarters office, you're going to need X number of conference seats per attorney for your conference center. And we can cite examples. We don't divulge client information, proprietary client information, but we put these statistics into a big database that we can share back with clients. That helps them say, oh, wow, firms like this other firm and firms like this other firm who I'm competing against are doing these things, and it's really working for them. In fact, I may have been in their offices. And we're able to bring that expertise to bear and help them make business decisions, help them understand what the ramifications and the success factors are for those business decisions. And that helps the people that are running those firms make decisions with confidence.
I'm sure it sounds like these questions are just lobs and pitches for you to knock them out of the park, but they're really, what you're saying is making me think these things, and it's not a setup. I know you know that, but it makes me think that the client would feel what you just described in these last few responses, that architectural design firm, we do that, and we do it really good, but wow, look at all this other, massive value we bring. So I think that's the recurring theme of what you're responding to, which is you could be an architectural design firm and be a good one, or you could be what we bring, and that's just so much more.
We are just publishing, Mike, the second volume of our what we call the Gensler Research Catalog, and this initiative in our firm, which was spearheaded by our CEOs, Diane Hoskins and Andy Cohen, is really talking about and putting forth the tremendous amount of investment in research that our firm has done. We're continually tasking our staff with developing research projects that are based in innovations in the field of design, in the field of business, the field of planning, what have you, and putting those together as like white paper kind of case studies in this research catalog. And that is something that we send out to our clients. So we're not when we look to get new business from either existing clients or new clients, we're not calling them up and saying, look, what do you have? We're Gensler. We want to work with you, and I'm sure you may have heard of us. If you haven't, here's a bit of history, but I want to send you this research material because it's got a lot of things that you'll find very interesting and that you may want to implement for yourself. So we're always trying to give them something versus just calling them and ask them to give us something. So our investment in research and having our people lead these research efforts has been a tremendous force in building our business.
Have you ever heard of the phrase content marketing?
I have, yes.
So obviously what you just described would fall under content marketing, but I would submit to you that either right now or very soon from now, the marketing world will no longer call that content marketing because it's just the way things should be done. And I think that that's a really big piece. And then when firms are doing that, then it's shining a light on the firms that are not. So you don't need to point the finger. You just need to be the one doing it the right way. So I think that is spectacular. So what do you feel like the 3 or 4 or 2 global trends are that you guys are seeing now in your industry?
Well, I think advances in technology is one of those, and we've got to be aware of technology in the simplest of our projects and how people are collaborating, how they're communicating with their clients, and how they're communicating in-house. It could be simple solutions or complex technological solutions. I would say another one is it still kind of falls under the, under that virtual collaboration has enabled our offices to be very flexible and very kind of more openly designed because you can talk and meet with people in a variety of formats from a cafe kind of setting to a formal conference room kind of setting. To a video conference kind of setting, or you could do it at your desk, at your own personal computer, whether or not you're in a private, semi-private, or enclosed, or open work area. So I think that's all good. The other thing that we're seeing that is, I think, a trend, and we'd like to think that we're one of the ones leading that, is the world of virtual reality and being able to present design to our clients and design solutions to our clients using virtual reality. And when I say that, it sounds like kind of a Star Wars thing, but it is. We have we've got these sets of goggles that we take to design presentations now. Rather than carrying a bunch of boards and drawings and PowerPoints, we're taking goggles and things like that to design presentations where people, the members that are of the client that are making design decisions, strap these goggles to their heads. They can stand up and walk around, turn around and look, and they are virtually in the space or the parts of the project that we are designing for them. It's very real, and in fact, I just took 6 sets of goggles to a client presentation in Chicago last week and had them all strapped in, and I took photos, and it's really interesting. You got a bunch of lawyers in a room actually oohing and eyeing over what their space is going to look at because they're seeing it in 3D with these goggles.
In real time, the prototype real time rather than just looking at some drawing mock-ups.
Yeah, and they can actually walk steps and walk forward down a hallway. They can, I can set the sun angle so they can see how much natural light is going to come into interior areas. And we've just scratched the surface of what's going to happen. So that's another one. And I would just say also the last thing, global trends, of the 3 that I just wanted to highlight for you, Mike, is, people are really concerned about this notion of open office. And they go, I've read that there's this trend of open office, and I don't, I need my private office, and, that my private office has value for the way I do work. Well, I just want to state here and now that architects and particularly Gensler is not out there to impose open office on all types of users. It may be appropriate for some, it may be appropriate for parts of some, but it's not appropriate. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We found that the millennials and generations since have come out, at one point came out of schools saying, we want to be in an open work environment, we want to be able to collaborate. And now we're finding that the pendulum has swung the other way, that it's more about focus on focus. We we've got 4 modes of work. Focus is like your head's down, work that you do at your desk or in your office. We've got collaborate, which is meeting with people in whatever form you want to make that. Socialize is another one. And then there's training. So those work modes, we find that generally speaking, collaboration is on the rise. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to have complete benching for desks and have people sitting at totally open work areas. You can have collaboration with a semi-enclosed workforce, but you have to provide those spaces that they can collaborate in. So I want to dispel the myth that people come to, that architects are going to come to them in this day and age and say, let's tear down all the walls and put you in open work environment and your business is going to be more successful. That may or may not be the case. Yeah.
It all depends on the use case and the client, and you're not going to strong-arm them into doing one way or the other.
Exactly. We like to say, Mike, and this isn't a shameless Gensler infomercial, it's more like what I think the profession should be doing is listening to the client's goals and objectives and responding with solutions that meet those goals and objectives and strive to take them a step or 2 steps further than they thought they could do. And the bottom line, again, is, it's not just, beautiful design makes everybody happy and the architect wants to win some design award, but it's actually beautiful, functional, innovative design will make the business more successful for the client. And it should look like the client. It shouldn't look like what we're designing. It shouldn't have a Gensler brand on it. It should have the client's brand on it. It's not about us. It's about the client's culture.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that. And yeah, not a shameless plug because you're just talking about what you do. And I'm certain that after that, virtual reality demonstration, if that was videotaped and you could see the jaws dropping to the ground, you just stand there and smile. I would love to be in that moment and just see the standing ovation kind of a response. So that's just really neat. Hey, in prep for this interview, just a few days ago, I saw a post by the great Seth Godin, who is a marketing thought leader, and I thought this really applied well. So I thought I would read a good portion of this and then get your thoughts on it. It's
Sure.
titled "When Your Marketplace Shifts." And he says, many markets have a base, which is people seeking a solution, a middle, people seeking some originality, something new, something a little better, and a top, educated and passionate consumers willing to go the extra mile to get something special. But here's what happens. A disruption happens in the market, and without a base, merchants have to struggle to attract enough business to stick around and to invest in getting better. And then the next thing is a few flee to the top. So marketplace disruption puts huge pressure on anyone who merely creates a commodity. When you see it coming, there's 2 choices: run like crazy to a new market or move up faster and more boldly than anyone thinks is rational. What are your thoughts around that? Because I really feel like Gensler, probably personifies a lot of that in the positive.
Yeah, that's a really interesting quote and kind of observation about the market. I mean, what I alluded to about our diversity of practice areas is kind of that is at the heart of that as well. What I said a few minutes ago, and just in running our own business, staying as flexible as we can, staying as flexible as we can and nimble as we can, because our business and the way we do our business is constantly changing. But for our clients, we also need to establish, that when we're affecting their built environment, the space that they are doing their business in, we need to create spaces that can move with the economy, that can move with the changes in market, that can accommodate their business changes without bringing in massive disruption, contractors tearing things down and rebuilding, or furniture movers that are coming in and reconfiguring. We're trying to think of solutions all the time that are providing like ubiquitous kind of approaches versus specialized approaches, because we know, and in fact, the answer may be sometimes that we're not planning out every square foot of a space a client moves into, we may leave some spaces kind of open for future build-out because their businesses are changing. Again, I'll go back to the law firm thing. The staffing of a law, you've got associates and partners and of counsels sitting in offices, usually around the windows, at the windows.
Oh,
well, then across the hallway, you had paralegals and secretaries that supported all that legal staff. Well, what we've seen is you always have these ratios of, two secretaries to, two partners or two attorneys, two legal staff to one secretary. What we saw over time is that is not the case. People are coming out of law school with advanced technological skills. The demand for legal secretaries went way down because of that. And you would have these inflexible work environments that had that ratio of secretarial desks built across the hall and nowhere, and they were sitting empty and not being used. And to change that was a major disruption in the space. So we are going to, like the model in some firms is 5 attorneys for 1 secretary. So the pendulum has really swung in the other direction. And we are configuring all of those work areas for those folks out of very flexible, changeable furniture solutions versus custom millwork, built-in construction. And we've allowed that to kind of morph. And even with the legals, the people sitting on the windows, the attorneys, their work areas are changing. Some people are moving to the inside with glass fronts and allowing more of the staff and people that circulate through the space to have natural opportunity to get natural light rather than blocking it. So not to go back to the law firm thing one more time, but I think it kind of illustrates.
Yeah.
And then there are those firms, too, that are saying, look, our business is going to change a lot. And whether it's a law firm or a corporation, I don't need the executive row to be located on a window in a cul-de-sac area of a plan or off of a conference center. I want to intersperse those executives into the workforce, and I want them to be located on the inside of the plan again, and I want my staff to be able to be taking advantage. We find it increases productivity. It increases retention. And again, the effect is on the bottom line. It's on, more profit, happier people, retention, all of those things I just said. So, yeah, I think kind of the theme that I would hit on is changeability, nimbleness, and flexibility.
Yeah, that is spectacular. I love it. And I really appreciate your time today. I've learned so much, and we could keep on going. I'm sure you could tell we could come up with all kinds of great topics to go deeper, but let's just close here with what is the best way that listeners can learn more about Gensler and reach out and connect with your firm.
Great. Well, I'd be glad to put my personal contact information at Gensler as Kenneth_Baker@Gensler.com. And they can forward questions to me, and as we do, I always funnel those inquiries and knowledge seekers to the right expert to answer those, whatever those inquiries are, Mike.
Excellent. Well, Ken, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and how your firm is moving forward and working in different various industries. So thank you so much for your time.
Mike, you're welcome. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.